Hey friends, I'm Mel and welcome to my kitchen. If you didn't believe me when I said I was taking last week off for some rest and relaxation, feast on this. No makeup, no meal plan, but that's no problem. I still made 4 amazing dishes that I want to share with you, and for lack of a better word, I'm calling them stuffed bread recipes. I hope you love them. You wouldn't be watching my channel if we didn't have some recipe with cornbread. We're going to make us some taco cornbread muffins. I actually have 1 pound of taco meat that I just made up, I guess last week. I made up 2 pounds in advance. I used 1 and I froze 1. I didn't, however, think to set it out to thaw. So I'm just going to thaw it out really slowly here in my skillet on top of the stove. I'm also going to put 1/4 cup of salsa in with my taco meat. And if you didn't have your frozen taco meat already, like I did, you'd just make you up 1 pound like you normally do. And this I just made with an envelope of pre-packaged taco seasoning. And instead of water, I added 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce and let it reduce. While our taco meat is heating up, I'm going to mix up 2 packages of Jiffy cornbread mix. And I'm just using the measurements on the side of the box, which would be 1/3 cup of milk and 1 egg to each box. Now that we have our cornbread mixed together, I'm going to put in 1 cup of cheese, and I'm going with 1/2 cup of Monterey Jack and 1/2 cup of some mild cheddar. And I'm using Jiffy muffin mix, but you're welcome to use whatever kind of cornbread you want to. This is just what I had on hand. Now I'm just going to start filling up my muffin pans. I'm going to fill them about 2/3 of the way full. This has been a good way to use up some things I had in my pantry and just some like little leftover bags of cheese and meat that I had in the freezer too. I might have a little bit too much cornbread mix in some of these. I'm bad to do that. We're just going to take a little spoonful of our taco mixture and we're going to put it right on top of our cornbread. This is another one of those fun ideas that you can just take and run with. You could use Sloppy Joe in here. I've made these with leftover pulled pork barbecue. Right here on the end, I didn't fill them quite as full. I'm going to do something here that I've done. It's been a long time. Is to do cornbread, then your filling, then top it with a little more cornbread. But this way, the cornbread bakes up around it and you get a little taco surprise muffin. And we're going to put these in a 375-degree oven. I'm going to put them on the top rack, which is about in the middle of my oven. I'm going to set the timer for 16 minutes and I'll check them. Friends, did y'all expect anything less from me than gigantic stuffed muffins? They smell delicious. They look delicious. I'll check them and make sure they're done all the way through. These were pretty big, so I baked them an additional 3 more minutes. And I did spray my muffin pan. I didn't say that, but I did do it. But it didn't really make much a difference. These wanted to stick on me tonight. But you know what? I just put a little lipstick on my pigs and they looked beautiful. And these things taste delicious. They are so good. Of course, you know I love taco. It's my favorite flavor. And these never disappoint. If you don't have cornmeal mix, you could definitely make this work with canned biscuits, crescent rolls, puff pastry, pizza crust, light bread, whatever you've got. It's so versatile. It's a great way to use up leftovers in a very delicious and beautiful little cup. Guys, here's one of the ones that has it in the middle. I almost forgot to show it to you, but look at that. How good. They stuck just a little bit because I made them a little too large.
I am so excited to try this spinach dip stuffed bread. And when you look at this recipe, you're going to see this list of ingredients, and if you're like me, you're going to move on because it's a long list of ingredients. But really, it's not. It's stuff you have like sour cream, mayonnaise, garlic, seasonings. The only thing you may not have is this pesto, but I actually have been wanting to try some recipes with pesto. So really, it's not that much, and it's not that much trouble. There's my spinach already thawed out, and of course you need a big loaf of French bread. When I'm making spinach dips, I like to start with this frozen spinach. It's already chopped up and it comes in a little box like this. I did set it in the refrigerator last night to thaw, but it didn't quite get all the way there, so I'm just going to microwave it for a couple of minutes here and get it thawed out, and then we're going to drain it really well. Once you think you've got all the water out of your spinach, just keep squeezing it. You want it really dry for this. I'm even going to gather it up in a paper towel, and I'm going to squeeze it just as hard as I can. And you can still see there's water coming out. I'm going to get my dicing out of the way, and it said about half of an onion. This is a flat Vidalia onion, so I'm really going to use like 3/4 of it. And for a spinach dip, I like mine chopped up pretty small. You don't want to get a big old chunk of onion in a bite. It also calls for half of a red bell pepper diced. I'll probably just go ahead and dice up all of this because I love to have some diced red bell pepper for some other things this week. Let's go ahead and prep our bread. I'm really nervous about this, but I've got a French bread loaf. It's one of the nice big soft ones, and I'm gonna cut across the end about 1 inch from the side, and I'm gonna do the same thing at this end. Then I'm just gonna make a rectangle here. Cutting down each side. Now I'm just going to lift it up, and I'm just going to, I may not even need my knife. I'm just going to try to pull this out with my hands and make like a little boat out of this. Do y'all remember the King's Hawaiian bread bowls? I used to make the cold spinach dip all the time, and I would hollow out their Hawaiian bread bowl, and I'd put that dip in that and serve it. It made such a pretty display. All right, not too bad. Not too shabby if I do say so myself. You can see I've got it hollowed out. I didn't hardly go quite as far down on that end as I did on that end, but we can fix that up. Definitely save this bread. I think I'm going to cube it up to serve with this, but if you didn't want to do that, you can just put that in the freezer, use it to make croutons, anything like that. You want the hollow of this little thing to be kind of shallow, so I'm going to take the underside of the top, and I'm just going to trim it off, and I'm going to put some of that back in there because I definitely don't want my spinach dip to like come through, and I'm just going to press it back down. Now I feel like that's perfect. We're going to start by drizzling in some olive oil, and we're going to saute up our half an onion. And this onion, even though it's a Vidalia, this thing is smelling strong. It smells good, but it smells strong. Now that our onions are nice and soft, I'm going to add in the red bell peppers. I'm also going to put in a couple little spoonfuls of minced garlic. You just want to let this cook, just a minute. You don't want the garlic to get scorched or anything. Now I'm taking my spinach. It's nice and dry as I could get it anyway. We're going to mix that in. We're Also going to put in about 2 tablespoons of pesto. I'm using this right here that I got at Aldi. A half a teaspoon of some Worcestershire sauce. A 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And about 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. Now let's add in half a cup of mayonnaise. Now let's put in that 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. Get it mixed in and all incorporated. And I did turn my skillet down to low heat. These Calphalon skillets really retain heat. You know spinach dip is rich. We also have half a cup of sour cream that goes in here. And we've not even got to our cheeses yet. I'm going to stir in 1 cup of Parmesan cheese and about half a cup of cheddar cheese. I only had mild, but sharp cheddar is delicious in this. Let's get it all stirred together. We're going to save that mozzarella cheese for after we get it inside the bread. Now we're going to take our spinach mixture and pour it right into this big loaf of bread. If you wanted to prepare this ahead of time, you could go ahead and make up your spinach mixture and just freeze this and then just take it out and warm it when you're ready to make this for a party or game day, the holidays, whatever. I did come down to this end of my bread and cut in a little bit further too. This definitely looks like a big old Mama Mel mess, don't it? You know how I like my food to look rustic. This may come out the sides, we shall see. And the icing on the cake is about 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese, just sprinkled right over the top. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven, and we're going to bake this for 25 minutes, then we'll check it. You just want to cook this until it is nice and bubbly and brown on the top. Mine took exactly 25 minutes, and look at that beauty. It didn't come all the way out the side or anything. I love it. Gonna let this sit here about 5 minutes. Let everything kind of macerate and maybe meld together a little bit, and we're gonna slice it up. Plus, it's so hot, I can't even touch it. This bread is everything. We absolutely flipped our livers over this. It was so good. And we have established on this channel that I am not a bread maker, but I believe I am a bread stuffer because I am loving these stuffed breads. Oh, this was delicious. And it was so messy. And I did go ahead and freeze the bread that I pulled out of here, and we ate it with tortilla chips. We would cut us off a piece of this and put it on a plate and then eat the bread and then eat the extra with the tortilla chips. But look at this end piece. Is that not perfection? These little items right here, pardon it, it's dirty. I just used it. My adjustable measuring spoon with the teaspoon on one end and the tablespoon on the other, and my little salt and pepper cellar, and these little adjustable bag holders. They come in a pack of 2. They fold flat to store. All these things are linked in my Amazon storefront. A lot of you guys ask about them, and I'll always have that in my description box. It's also in the About section of my channel, and I think it may be up at the top too. So if you ever are wondering about anything that I use, check there, and if you can't find it there, just holler at me. But I do try to put things that I use often and get questioned about often in there so you can find them easily. Tonight I'm going to make a chicken flatbread. Some people will have it with ranch. I'm going to put some of this balsamic glaze on mine. But again, it's simple, easy things, cleaning out this refrigerator and this pantry, and it is going to be delicious. The first thing I'm doing is taking a bag of some seasoned chicken breast. Looks like I made it back in May. Had this in the freezer. I pulled it out and put it in the fridge to thaw out, and I'm just going to reheat this in a skillet on top of the stove. If you didn't already have some chicken prepped and frozen, you could definitely use a rotisserie chicken or canned chicken, but I wanted to share a couple other quick and easy options. This is in the freezer department. This is Kroger brand. I buy this. I also buy Tyson, and they have them flavored, or you can just get them plain, but these come fully cooked, but they're frozen, and you just heat them up in the oven, or I think I've even put them in a skillet before, and I just slice them up and put them on salads or do things like this. And this bag is something that was on sale at Kroger's, and this is a 100% all-natural grilled chicken white meat strips by Perdue. This is actually not frozen. This is in like the refrigerated meat section. I haven't opened it yet, but I put some down here in this viewing window for you. But I thought this would be something that I would love to throw in a skillet and put my own seasonings on and just have that on hand for wraps or salads, anything like that for lunch. But anyhow, I just wanted to share another couple quick, easy options with you. While that chicken is reheating, the only slicing and dicing I have to do is this avocado. I already had my red bell pepper chopped up for the week. I left this in a paper bag ever since I got it because it was not very ripe. Hopefully it'll be ripe enough that it will taste okay. I'm going to be the only one here that's going to eat any of this avocado. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't always like it. But I've really grown to like it, especially on flatbreads or sandwiches. Now, I'm still not a fan of guacamole. You know I'm going to go for a salsa or cheese dip anytime over guacamole. But, like I said, sometimes our tastes change. I'm going to prep these breads. I've got 2 little naan breads here. You could use 1 big one, 4 little ones, just whatever you have. But I really like this naan bread. We've made pizzas on this. We've made lots of stuff on this. And I'm just going to brush them really good with some olive oil. I'm going to put a little mozzarella cheese over my flatbreads. Monterey Jack would also be really good on here, or pepper jack if you like it spicy. That would be good. Now we're going to put our chicken all over the top here. Since I've thawed this out and reheated it, I need to use it all, so these are going to be loaded down with chicken. Now I'm going to put a little bit of real bacon pieces over the top. You could definitely fry up bacon and chop it up and put it on here, but I'm keeping it quick and easy. I'm going to put some red bell peppers on this one. I don't think that Maddie and Patrick will want red peppers on theirs. And I'm going to put this in a 350 degree oven for 10 minutes, and we'll see if our cheese is nice and melted. You can adorn yours however you like. The original recipe that I found for these called for cilantro, and I'm not a big cilantro fan, but I do love green onions. And I'm going to put a few avocado chunks on mine. This recipe was actually called California Chipotle Ranch flatbreads, I think. I feel like this little stuffed bread episode is just taking us all across the country. Here we are in California having a chicken avocado flatbread. I feel like the little taco jiffy muffins, that took us to the South, and our spinach stuffed bread was like out of the heartland of the Midwest. This one's going to get a little drizzle of just regular ranch dressing. You could definitely season your ranch up with chipotle or anything like that you want to. And this one's getting a little drizzle of a balsamic glaze that I got at Aldi.
Friends, these were delicious. I went kind of light on the cheese. I really felt like I needed to simmer down after the last 2 of these stuffed breads, but it was so good. And look how beautiful. I really thought mine with the balsamic and the avocado was very, very beautiful. And that balsamic glaze goes on everything now. These were delicious. They were light. They were quick and easy. I cut them up with a pizza cutter right on my little long charcuterie board, and we just feasted.
And next on our little excursion of eating the breads of America we're going to go to Southwest Florida's Gulf Coast and have ourselves some beach bread. To make the beach bread, you want a loaf that's a little more crusty, like a baguette. And I just know by shopping at Kroger's, the French bread that comes in this bag, it has more of the crusty, crunchy texture, and the one in the bag with the twist tie is more soft to make like sub sandwiches on. And it is just me and Patrick here tonight, so I'm gonna half this. You just want to split your loaf in half lengthwise. I'm gonna use about 1.5 tablespoons of butter for each slice, and I'm gonna spread it out from end to end. You wanna make sure your butter's nice and soft. And this is a spreadable butter with canola oil, but I still have had it sitting out here for a good long bit because you want to be able to spread it real easily. I'm going to give this a light sprinkle with some garlic powder. You could use regular garlic here if you wanted to. And if you could only find the really soft French bread, at this point here, you would want to go ahead and stick this in the oven and get it toasted up, then move on to the next steps. Now you're going to take some blue cheese dressing. Like I said, I am halving this recipe, so I'm only using 1/2 cup. If you want to make an entire loaf, I'll have a link to this original recipe down in the description box. Blue cheese is one of those controversial dressings. Either you love it or you hate it. And the writer of this recipe said, even if you don't like blue cheese dressing, she encourages you to try this with blue cheese. The amount that's on here, she swears you don't really taste that tangy kind of like overpowering blue cheese. If you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know what it was, but it just gives it an extra like depth of flavor, and it really makes it good. But if you're dead set on not using blue cheese, you could definitely use a ranch dressing. The only dicing required is just a little bit of tomato, so I'm going to use 1 Roma. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of tomato on here. I mentioned it's just me and Patrick here, so I think I'll just put tomato on 1 because y'all know he hates tomatoes. He will eat bell peppers. He especially likes the colored ones. And I had a little bit left up from earlier this week, so I'm just going to sprinkle that on. Looks like it'll give it the same look. Now I'm going to put about 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese on each one of these. Let's give it just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and let's sprinkle a little parsley on here. If you had fresh, that would be beautiful, but I'm just using dried. And we're going to put this in a 425-degree oven for 10 minutes. Then we'll give it a look-see. I let mine go about 13 minutes to get it nice, toasted and brown on the top. Wow, look how pretty that is. It's funny how the tomatoes puffed up out of the cheese and the bell peppers sink down. At least that way I'll know which one Patrick will like. I never told you the reason why they call this beach bread. Apparently, lots of oceanfront restaurants in the southwestern Gulf Coast of Florida serve this bread. It's just a really amped up, cheesy bread, and it is delicious. The one with the red pepper, I tried it, and it was okay. I mean, it tastes like red pepper, but you gotta make it with the tomato because that tomato gave just a little bit of sweetness along with the deep like cheese and tartness. This one was good. This one was really, really good. I think you're gonna love this one as much as you like any of them. This one, it's so simple, but I swear it might be my favorite yet. The blue cheese. Use the blue cheese. This is precious. I love this little simple bread. We celebrated a little birthday this week. Patrick had one. Look at this cake that Ryan, Callie's fiance, made. It's absolute perfection. It was a brown butter chocolate with a bourbon chocolate icing. Look how perfectly level, and look at that icing. He amazes me. I've told you guys, he is the baker. You can see Patrick certainly enjoyed it. He's so good to me. I just love him so much.
If you enjoyed tonight's video, I'd love it if you'd give it a big thumbs up before you head out. I'll put another couple on the screen in case you've missed anything this summer. And as always, I appreciate you being here and spending your time with me. I don't ever take that for granted. I'll see you next week, and I send you love from my kitchen. Until then.